This is Head Bust Unboxing, and we are back in the house. And when a legend offers you help, you should always take that help. Two-time heavyweight champion George Foreman offered to help train Deontay Wilder for the Americans' assumed third fight against Tyson Fury this summer. Foreman took to social media on Tuesday to post an old school picture of the all time great heavyweight legend holding what basically looks like a giant tree stump on his massive shoulders. Maybe it's time for Deontay Wilder to come spend time 2 or 4 weeks with me, Foreman said. Happy for Fury, but I see a need for Wilder. And he posted this on Twitter earlier this afternoon. The two fighters' careers are eerily similar. Wilder didn't start boxing until October 2005 when he was 20 years old. Amazingly, he won a bronze medal at the 2008 Olympics in Beijing. Foreman experienced something just like that. And what the two heavyweights have in common is super rare in boxing. Foreman's first boxing match was in February of 1967, and by the summer of 1968, he was standing on the podium as the gold medal winner at the Olympics. For a boxer to achieve such heights in such a short amount of time is extremely rare. Yeah, isn't that something crazy, Foreman said. But the parallels just doesn't stop there because, like Wilder, who wisely took his time after his short amateur career to learn the trade more fully, Foreman did something very similar after his amazing Olympic run. I didn't even want to be a professional boxer because I only had 25 boxing matches as an amateur, Foreman admitted. The gold medal match was my 25th boxing match. But Foreman was convinced by manager Dick Salder he could travel around the world and compete in exhibitions to get more ring time under his belt. Foreman did exactly that, and by 1969, he started his professional boxing career in earnest. Additionally, both Wilder and Foreman share another crazy attribute, their tremendous power. Of course, we all know that. Um, Wilder's outrageous ability to knock out his opponent to the boxing world by storm. It was Foreman who was the most feared puncher of his era. And once again, that's definitely two things they have in common. Um, if you think Wilder is a scary monster and devastating puncher, you might want to go check out how George Foreman ran through Joe Frazier in 1973 to capture the world title, and in 1976 also when him and Joe Frazier rematched. So I mean, they have a lot in common, and to tell you the truth, um, the way I see it, if I'm Wilder, I can't help but take him up on that offer. I mean, even if you look at their fighting styles, Foreman, it took him a while to develop his jab, but once he developed it, he what I used to call a tree trunk type of jab, or that bazooka jab where he just punished you with his jab. It took him a while, but he developed it straight right. Asked Michael Moore. So him and Wilder, they definitely had some things in common. Um, just Foreman was just bigger. Now here's the thing though. Back in Foreman's day, he actually weighed about what Deontay weighed coming into the fight against Fury. So Foreman weighed about 230, 235. He didn't blow up to like 250 and all that stuff until he came back when he was a little heavier. So it's some stuff he could teach him. It's some stuff that Foreman had to learn over the years because of his short amateur career, and he showed it's never too late to learn. He really had to change his style up a lot. Not a ton, but he had to change it up some because basically he came in with a whole different body structure. I mean, just go back and look at how much smaller Foreman was by the time he fought Holyfield compared to when he fought Ali. Just I mean, two different body structures. But I mean, I'm not saying Deontay Wilder should go out and put on like 30 or 40 pounds and come back and fight at 250 or nothing like that. But it's definitely stuff that Foreman can teach him to hone in on his craft. Definitely can teach him how to back people up. Over his last few fights, and it didn't, it wasn't just with Fury. Over his last few fights, he fought more backing up. Me personally, I didn't like that. I also don't like the fact that recently it seems like he let people get off first and becoming more of a counterpuncher. I personally thought if he would have led off more against Tyson Fury, the outcome might have been a little different. Fury said himself, Wilder was definitely throwing a more educated jab. And what I mean when I say that, he said that Wilder was throwing a harder jab and a more accurate jab. And to be honest with you, when Wilder fired off that right hand, it connected a lot more early. Just go back and watch the fight. Now I'm not going to make any excuses for the man. He lost. You heard people say, well, Fury was fighting dirty, the suit, the ear thing. Look, at the end of the day, it's boxing. If he wore that suit to the ring, that's his fault. You can't complain about it. But as far as the ear thing goes, stuff happens. It's a fight. Stuff happens. And as far as Fury fighting dirty, well, I always thought, like they used to say in the old school, if the ref don't stop him from doing it, or if the ref don't call it a foul, it ain't a foul. Sometimes you got to take things in your own hands. If Fury hitting you behind the head, guess what? Hit him behind the head. If he's leaning on you, then try to get him in a position where you're leaning on him and choke him out or whatever, or push him around. You got to be able to, if somebody's doing tactics like that, you got to get dirty with them. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you what it reminded me of, and I'm going to wrap it up. When I watched that fight, it reminded me of watching B-Hop in his prime, especially when he fought middleweights that wasn't really middleweights. He would when the referee would be on one side, he'll punch him in the hips. He would rabbit punch him. He would when they would slump over, he would choke them, just like you saw Tyson Fury do. Heck, when Mayweather fought Madonna, he put his glove over his mouth. How you think Madonna bit his hand? He had to have had his hand near his mouth for him to bite him. So I mean, at the end of the day, boxing is a rough sport, and when it gets dirty like that, you got to get down and get dirty too. So I hope he. And now here's something else. You got to be taught that stuff too. If you don't know, you don't know. And because of that short amateur career and basically learning on to go in the pros, some of this stuff Deontay Wilder might not actually know. So I hope he takes Foreman up on his offer and see how that plays out. And that's pretty much all I got. This is Head Busting Boxing Fight Doctor. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Hit me up in the comment section. Do you think George Foreman can help Deontay Wilder take his career to the next level? Because at the end of the day, that's probably what it's going to take to beat a Tyson Fury. Or at the least learn some more basics. And that's pretty much all I got. This Head Busting Boxers on Fight Doctor. I am out.